All right, here we go. This is number 1 on page 89, and obviously division. And remember how you read this is 457 divided by 4. So you start with the number that's in the garage. That's what I call this, the garage. And so 457 divided by 4. So if you were going to write it the other way, you would write it 457 divided by 4. Okay? So same thing. I'm just going to draw a line right here around this so we know it's not part of our equation that we're working on right now. Okay, so to start, I can cover these numbers and pretend that they're not even there. And I ask myself, how many times does 4 go into 4? Okay, without going over. Well, what times 4 is going to get you closest to 4 without going over? Well, there's only one solution here, people. 4 times 1 gives me 4. So that's how I know that the 1 goes above the 4. And then I multiply this. 1 times 4 equals 4. Write it down here. And now I subtract. I'm still not dealing with these two numbers yet. Okay? So now I've got 4 minus 4 is 0. Is 0 less than this 4? Yes, it is. So I know I'm good. Now I bring down my 5. Okay, so now I go back over here to the divisor and I say, how many times does 4 go into 5 without going over? Well, nothing times 4 is going to give you 5, so I have to get as close as I can. So again, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. That's too many. So I can't use 2, I have to use 1. So now my 1 goes above my 5 up top. And then I multiply this 1 that I just put up here times 4 equals 4. Write that below my 5 down here. And now I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 is less than 4, so I'm good. I bring down my 7. Now I ask myself, how many times does 4 go into 17 without going over? This is why I've told you guys, you really, really, really want to get your multiplication facts down to a science, down to a one snap answer, because then you can recognize, oh, 4 times 4 is 16. That's going to get me the closest, because 4 times 5 is 20. That's too big. So you can go through your 4s. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. That's the closest that I can get without going over, because you can't go over this number down here. So now I say 4 times 4 is 16. Put my 16 down here and subtract. 17 minus 16 is 1. I have nothing else to bring down. Okay? Nothing else. So that means this becomes my remainder. So remainder 1. My final answer, 114 remainder 1. All right. So let's look at number 2 on that page. So same page. Sorry, Winnie's freaking out. Number 2 on that page, page 89. Again, 1,035 divided by 5. Okay, so if I were to write this the other way, using the little division symbol, I would say 1,035 divided by 5. Okay, same problem. Box that off. All right, so now I say, how many times does 5 go into 1? Well, 5 can't go into 1 because 1 is smaller than 5, and we can't jam it in there because it's not going to go. So I put a little X above my 1 to tell me don't put any numbers above that 1, because then it's going to be wrong. Okay, so then I slide my finger over and I say, can 5 go into 10? Yes, it can. How many times can 5 go into 10 without going over? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, so my 2 goes above my 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Write it down here and subtract. 10 minus 10 is 0. Because 0 is less than 5, I know I'm good. I bring down my 3. So now, can 5 go into 3? No, it can't, because 5 is bigger than 3. So it can't go into 3. But that doesn't mean that I'm done and I freak out. No, I just say, how many times can it go in? Well, it goes in 0 times. So I put my 0 up here. Okay, and that's where kids get really confused. Oh my gosh, it doesn't go in. I don't know what to do. It's fine. It goes in 0 times. So now 0 times 5 is 0. Bring my 0 down here and I subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. That's less than this 5, so I'm good. And I bring down my 5. So now I say, how many times does 5 go into 35 without going over? You can by all means count by 5s. Those are your multiples of 5. And you will find that 7, it gets you, 7 times 5 is 35. When I subtract 35 minus 35, I get 0, which means I have no remainder, which means that my final answer is 207. All right. Last one that we're going to do is number 3 on that page. And again, 1,766 divided by 8. So 1,766 divided by 8. All right, so I start by just looking at the 1. How many times does 8 go into 1? It cannot. How many times does 8 go into 17? 2 times, because it can't go over. So I know that 8 times 2 doesn't equal 17, but it gets me as close as it can without going over. So 8 times 2 is 16. Bring my 16 down. Now I have to subtract. 17 minus 16 is 1, which is less than 8, so I know I'm good. I bring down my 6. Oh, well, now I already know because I already figured this out. 8 times 2 is 16. So I put my 2 up here, bring my 16 down here, and subtract. 16 minus 16 is 0, less than 8, so I'm good. I bring down my 6. Now, how many times can 8 go into 6? Well, it can't, because 6 is less than 8. So again, I don't freak out. I don't stop. I don't stress out about it. I just go, oh, it can't. So I put a 0 up top. Then I say 0 times 8 is what? 0. Bring it down here. Subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6. I don't have anything else to bring down. So in this case, I have a remainder of 6. So my answer is 220, remainder 6.